Opening number 1 goes like this. Approaching the treaty's new war cruiser filled Cadet Ramona Keegan with something like religious awe. Okay, that works. That's functional. Nothing wrong with it. It's actually kind of, if I could show it to you, it's a very chunky paragraph. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines in that first paragraph. Not typical for me, but it's a different genre for me. It's something I'm trying a little bit differently, so, gotta give a little bit of room for that, but it's a bit chunky. All right, let's see what this is. Let me go try a different one. Here we go. Chapter 1, same story. Pirate Captain Ramona Keegan ran a calloused hand over her bald head, palm lingering over the crimson hourglass of a colossal black widow spider tattoo, whose tarsi ended at the corner of the captain's ice-blue eyes. Okay. Now the second line, just for reference, is, "I want that ship," she said to her crew, "and I mean to have it." So I've already got 2 paragraphs in that version. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. The first line, which granted is a very long sentence, maybe it could stand to get broken up a little bit, but the first sentence is only, in the first paragraph, is only 3 lines, whereas over on that first one, we're talking 7 lines, right? Again, neither one is necessarily any better or worse than the other. But there's an adage in advertising and marketing that you want to attract the right people and repel the wrong ones, and the same is true of our fiction. Now, in a bookstore scenario, or even on a website like Amazon or an independent site or whatever, you're going to have the benefit of a cover and a blurb of some kind of jacket copy or description of the book, so you've already got that going. If you're on a website, you're going to have lots of reviews, presumably, to look at, all of which will factor into your decision of whether or not you want to buy this book. You're probably, though, whether you're in a bookstore or on a website, you're going to look inside, right? There's that whole feature, look inside. And at least I think it's still there. First thing you're probably going to look at is the first page. Now, most readers, I will grant you, most readers aren't going to read the first sentence of a book and then either close it immediately and say, not for me, this is stupid, or continue reading and reading and reading and reading. Most of us are going to fall somewhere in the middle while we're browsing. We're probably not going to stop on the first sentence. So I understand hammering this whole first sentence thing. It's not that you're doomed if your first sentence isn't this, remarkably well-crafted gem. Okay, true. But it can certainly help. Now, if you're a writer who's looking to get into traditional publishing, it matters all the more because an agent is only going to read so much. And if that first sentence doesn't immediately grab, dude, they've got a stack on their desk or in their email, in their inbox, up to the ceiling, literally and metaphorically. This is how much time you have. You've got 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds to grab them and compel them to keep reading. As a book reader, a book purchaser, there's a little bit more wiggle room, that's true, but why not make that first sentence something really exquisite and something that really stands out and makes the reader go, whoa, what's going on here, and keep going, right? I was just working with a student of mine who had a good opening. There was something in the bushes, and it was black, this creature in the bushes, and the main character was like a little, whoa, what's going on? That's not how she wrote it. I'm paraphrasing. But it was a good opening. It was a solid opening. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it, right? But then a couple of paragraphs down, there was a line about the character was a kid, and the kid, 14 years old or so, was imagining himself in a gunfight with Jesse James. And even if you don't know exactly who Jesse James is, I couldn't spit out a whole history of Jesse James, but I know the name, and it's connected to where I'm from in Arizona a little bit, in the Old West. So when we took that line about Jesse James and put it at the top, it was something like, oh, I immediately perked up. I want to know more. What gunfight with Jesse James? What's going on? And then as the paragraph develops, we learn very quickly, because you don't want to string your reader along, we learn very quickly that this character is imagining himself in a shootout with Jesse James. He's playing a game with himself because the work that he's doing is so mind-numbing or whatever. And so that leads to a great hook and makes me keep reading. It makes me sit up a little bit. If you are not somebody who's interested in Jesse James or the Old West, guess what? You can put that book down now because it's not your thing. There are still, I can't believe it, but in this day and age, there are still writers who are working on their craft. And when you say, okay, well, who's your book for? And they'll say, oh, it's for everybody. No, it's not, though. You have to excise that out of your head. It is not for everybody. It might be for millions of people. That's entirely possible. Or it might be for thousands or maybe even hundreds, depending on the book, right? But it's not for everyone. I know you want it to be for everyone, but it's not. And you're not going to do yourself any favors, particularly those of you who are interested in traditional publishing, by approaching an agent and saying, well, I know this book is going to be a bestseller because everyone will love it. No, they fucking won't. They won't. And the sooner you get over that, and the sooner you drill down and find your actual audience, the happier you will be. I know the happier I will be. I'm still drilling down, trying to look for that audience. I know they're out there, but this everyone thing has got to go. One of the ways to do that, one of the ways to drill down and find that target audience, find the people to attract and the other group to repel, is to craft that first line into something that you cannot ignore. Whether you like it or not, whether the reader likes it or not, doesn't matter. You just want to craft something that either attracts them or repels them. I think starting with, and I could change it, has not been published, I'm not committed to this yet, but this first line, Pirate Captain Ramona Keegan, boom, Pirate Captain Ramona Keegan. As it turns out, this is a science fiction. It's not science fiction, it's more of a space opera. But it's in space, it's set in space. So I might be throwing you off a little bit when I say Pirate Captain Ramona Keegan. So we'll see. Pirate Captain Ramona Keegan ran a calloused hand over her bald head, palm lingering over the crimson hourglass of a colossal black widow spider tattoo, whose tarsi ended at the corner of the captain's ice-blue eyes. I want that ship, she said to her crew, and I mean to have it. You still don't know it's science fiction yet. You still don't know it's in that sci-fi area of the bookstore, just by that. My next sentence had probably better introduce something like that very quickly, even though, presumably, you've already seen a book cover that shows a spaceship or a woman in a spacesuit with a sword or a Jolly Roger. I don't know, whatever. Haven't gotten to that part in the process yet. But still, even if you already know cognitively this is going to be about space pirates, I want to establish that pretty quickly in my opening. Does it have to be in the first sentence? No. Because in the first sentence, all I need to do is hook you and grab you and not lie to you. This is what you're getting into, And I think this one tells me a little bit more than the other one, approaching the treaty's new war cruiser-filled cadet Ramona Keegan. There's a big difference. In the first one, she's a cadet. In the second one, she's a pirate captain. Filled cadet Ramona Keegan with something like religious awe. Okay, again, functions. Totally functional. But does it grab you? Does it make you go, oh, fuck, I gotta read this? It doesn't grab me, and I wrote the thing, So taking time, write the book, write the story, get it out, but then taking time to craft that first line, that first paragraph, that first page. Should I add more paragraph breaks? Should I remove some of the paragraph breaks? Is red the right word, or is crimson the right word? These are all very deep dive, nitty-gritty craft choices you should be making in the whole book, of course, but in particular, that first page. Get that first page so freaking beautiful that it attracts the right people and repels the wrong one, including, most especially perhaps, literary agents. All right? Hope that's helpful. Let me know. Stay in touch. Take care.